jaren vocht Abbott voor de erkenning die de foto's van Atget verdienden. Haar inspanning leidde ertoe dat zijn werk bewonderd werd door een aantal zeer invloedrijke mensen.
Jacqueline Onassis was a big Atget fan. In about 1978 or so, she had started work on a book that was called Atget's Gardens, and this led her to Berenice Abbott, who she enjoyed a great deal. Another little known fact about Ms. Onassis was that she was the first editor of Berenice Abbott, American Photographer. She was the one who wanted to undertake the project and so forth. She came down to my studio on Christopher Street, and we went through hundreds and hundreds of photographs for her to start making selections of what she really liked as, you know, going through the editorial process. She saw a book, the old Atget book, the one from 1930, sitting on a shelf. And she said, "Can I borrow that?" And I said, "Well, of course you can, under one condition." And she says, "Well, what's that?" And I said, "If you'll let me take a picture of you holding it." And so she said, "That sounds fine." I took 2 or 3 pictures of her holding the book. And this is one of the most photographed women of the 20th century. But there weren't any formal pictures that happened after President Kennedy was shot. This may well be one of the handful of times, if not the only time. And the fact that she's holding an Atget book, I thought was really quite wonderful.
Het was geen toeval dat Jackie Onassis zowel Abbott als Atget bewonderde. Niet alleen vond ze hun foto's prachtig, maar ze zag ook in dat hun werk op veel verschillende niveaus met elkaar verbonden was.
There is this quality in both Atget and Abbott that they use 10x8 cameras, and they're used to looking at the ground glass as a kind of magnifying glass of reality. So they look at things with an intensity that is not part of normal vision. And once we've seen what they've seen in this magnified way, we share in it. And we have this marvelously fresh, rinsed kind of perception.
She really did see the perfection in technique and the quiet persistence of the images, I think. He went back and shot scenes that I don't think most photographers would have shot. He may have shot 500 doorways. What's a doorway? But there's something unique and simple and clean about each one of those images, and I think that she saw that. She saw that he was documenting something in its multiplicity, which was in the end going to bring about a very simple and very direct feel for what is Paris.
I personally believe that Atget is one of the most important photographers of the 20th century. And the curiosity of this is, in fact, Atget was not a 20th century photographer. Atget was a 19th century photographer.
Door haar onvermoeibare inspanning slaagde Berenice Abbott erin Atget's fotografie de status van kunst te geven, uitstijgend boven die van pure documentatie. Toen ze in 1991 op 93-jarige leeftijd stierf, had het Museum of Modern Art in New York een reeks van 4 delen over Atget's werk uitgegeven en een aantal hooggewaardeerde tentoonstellingen georganiseerd. Maar dat haar naam altijd geassocieerd werd met die van de grote man, bleef altijd een bitterzoete ervaring voor haar.
At the end of her career, Berenice was given an honor in 1988 by the French government, where she was awarded the Chevalier. Why? Not for her career necessarily, but for rescuing the Atget archive. She had just turned 90. So it's almost, you know, as if she couldn't shake it off, as if she could. How could she live 2 lives? Nobody can. It's more selfless than you can imagine.
Berenice is recognized as one of the really great photographers in the history of photography. No question about it. She talked often about the early days with the Atget collection, and she said that 40 years it was on her back. She said she had 2 careers his and mine, you know.
Berenice never knew her father, so the search for a father figure, I mean, it's almost trite in psychology, but in fact, it has substantial truth here.
One of the things I think that's really important is the heroic achievement of Berenice Abbott in bringing this enormous collection of valuable, delicate, fragile things to the United States and looking after them for years. But she, being an artist, had a special, privileged understanding of its importance and the sheer guts and willpower to make it happen.
She did not get sufficient recognition for having done all this, I think, because one, she wasn't flashy, she wasn't fancy, she was a woman, but in the long run, she won the race because people remember and know what she did and respect it a great deal.
For me, what stands out with Berenice's work as a young photographer now is that it makes me want to be really technically better. And when I looked at those images, I just wanted to go back and reshoot everything. And I think I will.